Some of what you're about to hear might sound like a science fiction epic, but it's not. Something far deeper, rooted in spiritual history, cosmic struggle, and the long journey of humanity on a planet caught in the fallout of something most of us don't even realize happened. This is our world, Urantia, our home among the stars. Though we may not always feel it, we've never been abandoned. We've never truly been alone. To understand where we are right now, in this strange moment of confusion and change, we have to zoom out, way out. Let's start with a bit of cosmic context. Imagine our local corner of the galaxy, a star system with over 2,000 suns blazing in the dark. Within that cluster, 618 inhabited worlds, each with their own stories, struggles, and souls. Even that's just the beginning. Zoom out further, and you'll find that our system is just one of 100 within a vast stellar network known as a constellation. This one called Urantia Book. Go further still, and you'll see that there are 100 constellations in our local universe, known as Amadon. And Amadon? It's just one of 100,000 local universes belong to a much larger realm, a super universe known as Awaken. We, you and I, we live on a small, struggling world, one of billions. It wasn't always meant to be a place of chaos. Our universe was designed with care, co-created by a paradise sun, divine being known as a creator sun, who in our realm goes by the name Michael. Alongside him is the mother spirit, feminine force, divine nurture and guidance. Together, we weave new universes into existence. Each one becomes a creative workshop, where 10 million mortal worlds are set into motion to evolve over unimaginable spans of time. Ours, Amadon, still young. It's alive, growing, and full of potential. Here on Urantia, our Earth, seeds of life were sown about 550 million years ago. Human beings have been around for close to 1 million years. For a while, things were going well. The evolutionary path was unfolding as it should. Spiritual guides were present. Wisdom was being shared. Then something happened. Something that derailed not just our planet, dozens of others. 200,000 years ago, rupture tore through the spiritual fabric of our local system, known as Satania. That time, there were 67 inhabited worlds in Satania. Urantia was number 606, young, impressionable planet. A world still forming its spiritual backbone. Because of that, we were vulnerable. Rebellion didn't start here. It began in high places. The radiant being named Lucifer. Lucifer was what's called a Lanonandek sun, a high spiritual administrator assigned to oversee entire systems of evolving worlds. He was destined to govern 1,000 inhabited planets. Brilliant, charismatic, respected. Somewhere along the way, something in him fractured, began to question the divine order, doubt the wisdom of the Universal Father. And slowly, out became defiance. Lucifer's second-in-command, Satan, stood by his side. And here on Urantia, spiritual administrator in charge, Alagastia, joined them. Together, turned their backs on the plan of divine ascension, and led a rebellion that would echo across time. Lucifer issued a declaration, a manifesto of liberty, as he called it. In it, he denied the existence of the Universal Father, claimed the entire spiritual hierarchy was a scam, designed by the Paradise Sons to control and manipulate creation. He said the plan for mortal ascension was a fraud. The Ancients of Days, wise beings who preside over higher realms, tyrants, foreign meddlers. He told the angels and mortals under his command that if they would only rise up, demand independence, they would gain true immortality, freedom, he promised. But what followed was darkness. It began as a spiritual uprising, became a cosmic betrayal. Lucifer, once a being of light, sank into self-glorification. He used his brilliance to seduce others. He twisted truth into lies. He spread the infection of rebellion from world to world. And here on Urantia, Alagastia, our own planetary prince, became one of his most devoted supporters. Result, our planet, once on track to evolve spiritually with divine guidance, is cut off, quarantined, isolated from the rest of the universe, prevent the rebellion from spreading further. With that, our light dimmed. Not everyone gave in. Some stood firm. That's where we'll pick up in the next part. The story of Van and Amadon, two extraordinary beings who, in the face of overwhelming deception, stood their ground. Even as the rebellion took root, sowing confusion across systems, turning trusted leaders into traitors, there were those who refused to bend. On Urantia, Caligastia betrayed his trust and aligned himself with Lucifer. Two remarkable figures held their ground. Van, loyal spiritual administrator, and Amadon, modified human, part of the planetary staff assigned to assist in the evolution of early mankind. These two didn't just resist, they stood unshaken through the storm. Amadon was never meant to be a hero of legend. He came from humble beginnings, seemingly ordinary soul caught in extraordinary times. In the depths of chaos, when others turned away from light, Amadon stood firm. His loyalty to Van, his refusal to abandon faith in a higher purpose, became legendary. Word of his devotion spread far beyond our world. In the high spiritual headquarters of the universe, Salvington, his name was spoken with awe. Celestial beings would ask day after day, "What of Amadon? Does he still stand?" But always, answer came back, "Yes, still standing." Together, Van and Amadon faced the unimaginable. Most of their colleagues lost to rebellion. Urantia plunged into isolation, chose the hardest path, faithful service in exile. They knew that healing would take ages. They never gave up. Over more than 150,000 years, they worked to rebuild what had been shattered. Guided by celestial overseers known as the Melchizedeks, they created outposts of civilization, centers of truth, seeds of order in a world torn by spiritual anarchy. Their work laid the foundation for what would come next, the arrival of new hope in the form of two extraordinary beings, Adam and Eve. All evolutionary worlds, when ready, receive a gift, a pair of divine uplifters known as material son and daughter, beings who combine spiritual wisdom with physical presence, sent to guide civilization forward. On Urantia, this was to be our second great epical revelation. Around 38,000 years ago, our Adam and Eve descended. This wasn't going to be an ordinary mission. Because of the rebellion and the primitive state of the planet, their assignment was uniquely difficult, perhaps impossibly so. Social structures needed to support their work simply didn't exist. Lurking in the shadows was Caligastia, still bent on undermining all progress. For a time, Adam and Eve worked diligently, taught, uplifted, brought order and hope. But after just over a century, pressure became too great. Calculated deception by Caligastia pushed them into making a choice they could not reverse. Their mission, meant to raise the spiritual and physical standard of humanity, faltered. Consequences were devastating. Urantia had now suffered two great losses: betrayal of its planetary prince, breakdown of its genetic and cultural uplift. What might have been a flourishing age of advancement turned instead into centuries of confusion, struggle, and spiritual delay. We were left with less than we should have had, double deprivation. We lost the stable society that divine leadership would have cultivated, and we missed out on the enhanced physical evolution the Adamic mission was meant to bring. And yet, we were not forgotten. Spiritual support was still present, though unseen. Celestial forces continued to work behind the scenes, guiding humanity through its darkest ages. Then, about 4,000 years ago, bright light broke through the clouds of time. An emergency messenger from the universe, Awaken Melchizedek. His arrival would mark the beginning of the third epical revelation to our world. Roughly 4,000 years ago, with truth dimming and confusion spreading like a fog across the earth, a messenger descended. Not a prophet, not a man, but a divine teacher sent from the universe itself. Awaken Melchizedek, known later as the Sage of Salem, came with one mission: to rekindle humanity's understanding of the true nature of God. At that point in time, even the most basic truths about the Universal Father were fading from memory. So Melchizedek appeared, clothed in the likeness of man, to restore the light before it was lost completely. He taught of a single, loving, divine creator, not a distant force or vengeful deity, but a universal Father, personal and present. He made his home in a settlement called Salem, a small spiritual community that centuries later would be known as Jerusalem. and it was there that he encountered a man named Abraham. Together, they entered into a sacred agreement, covenant. Melchizedek promised that Abraham's descendants would one day carry divine truth to all the peoples of the world. His words, his teachings, and the missionaries he trained would echo across civilizations. They would help seed many of the faiths we know today. This wasn't the end goal. This was just the beginning, groundwork for something greater. Because Melchizedek spoke of another teacher who was yet to come, one who would not simply teach about God, but reveal God himself in human form. That promised teacher arrived 2,000 years later, not as a vision or a voice from the sky, but as a child born in a stable. His name was Jesus of Nazareth. This was the fourth epochal revelation to our world. Creator's Son, the very being who had helped design this universe, had chosen our planet as the place to live, breathe, walk, and suffer as one of us. In our universe, this being is known as Michael of Amadon. He came to Earth not only to uplift, but to experience firsthand the struggles of mortality. And through that life, his words, his choices, his compassion, he revealed something astonishing. God is not only real, near, not a distant judge, but a loving Father. Jesus taught that if God is our Father, then all of us, every person, are brothers and sisters. That means our highest calling isn't power or piety, love, service, unity. He didn't just say it, he lived it. From the lowliest outcast to the proudest scholar, he treated all with the same dignity. He healed, he forgave, taught with wisdom, walked with humility. He shattered religious tradition, rejected blind dogma, and challenged humanity to rise to its highest potential. Not someday, now, in every moment, through every choice, to live as children of God. Jesus completed his life on earth. After the pain of betrayal, crucifixion, and death, he rose again. Even before he left, he made a promise. He would not leave us alone. I will send you the Spirit of truth, he said. It will dwell within you. And so it happened. On the day of Pentecost, a new spirit came into the hearts of all who believed. Divine presence within. From that moment forward, every human mind has carried a spark of God's presence inside. And with it, a quiet whisper. You are loved. You are not alone. You are part of something eternal. This, too, was part of the plan. As Jesus lived his final bestowal on our troubled world, the universe watched in awe. Out of the 10 million worlds in this local universe, he chose ours. Not because we were holy, because we were hurting. Because the darkness here provided a perfect canvas to reveal the light of divine love. And for all time, his life would stand as a testament to that truth. For nearly 2,000 years after Jesus walked the earth, humanity continued its slow, stumbling evolution. Empires fell, religions spread, wars were fought, science advanced, so did philosophy, ethics, art, and yet something essential is still missing. Though the name of Jesus echoed through history, his true message, living religion of love, spiritual equality and unity, came buried beneath ritual, doctrine, and division. The world didn't need another religion about Jesus. What it needed was the religion of Jesus, brought back to life through understanding and personal experience. That moment would come. In the 20th century, new revelation was quietly prepared, not delivered by angels in flaming chariots, received humbly through years of quiet documentation and anonymous cooperation. Urantia Book, fifth epochal revelation to our planet, didn't come to create another dogma. It came to bring clarity, correct centuries of distortion, and to help humanity take the next evolutionary step in spiritual understanding. And most of all, came as a gift, not to be forced, but to be discovered. Within its pages, story unfolds that's as vast as the stars, explains the structure of the universe, countless celestial beings at work in it, and our place here on this tiny but extraordinary planet. It offers the clearest and most beautiful biography of Jesus ever written. Not just a spiritual figure, but a brother, teacher, living revelation of the Father's love. tells us that the universe isn't random. It's not cold or indifferent. It is mind-made, personality-managed, and filled with purpose. It reminds us, you are not an accident. You are not forgotten. You are a child of a loving, eternal Father. Why here? Why us? Because Urantia, our world, needed it most. Our history, marred by rebellion and spiritual isolation, has left deep wounds. Lucifer rebellion, fall of our planetary prince, derailment of Adam and Eve's mission. All of it placed a weight on this world unlike most others in our system. But we are not forsaken. In fact, we are now living in a time of extraordinary opportunity. Urantia revelation is not the end of the story. It's the next chapter that invites us not just to read or to learn, to live differently, to rise, to awaken, to love more fully, serve more joyfully, see others more clearly as children of the same divine family. This revelation is not about control. It's not a commandment or a new authority to obey. It is an invitation to participate in something greater, contribute to the gradual transformation of this world, one heart at a time. Because the real work, it's not happening in halls of power or in temples built by stone. It's happening wherever a person chooses compassion over cruelty, faith over fear, understanding over judgment. And now, it's your turn. So, after all this, where does it leave us? A world marked by betrayal, confusion, and loss. But also, one that has never stopped reaching upward, reaching for more. There's no denying it. Urantia has been through a lot. It's a world that's known rebellion, silence, and delay. A place where the light was dimmed again and again, never extinguished. Because something extraordinary has been happening, quietly, steadily, across generations. Spark is reigniting. Begins with those who are willing to ask deeper questions. Not what should I believe? What is true? Not how do I fit in? How do I grow? Not do I fear? What do I love? You've felt that, haven't you? Stirring deep within you, quiet knowing that there's something bigger than what we see on the surface. That there's more to this life than just survival or success. We are not just accidents of the cosmos, citizens of a greater, loving universe. And here's the beautiful part. You don't have to change the world all at once. You just have to begin within yourself. Every act of kindness matters. Every moment of self-mastery. Every sincere prayer, every time you choose truth over convenience or love over resentment, it all sends out ripples into your community, into the world, and even into the spiritual dimensions that surround us. Urantia revelation reminds us, act is ours, consequences are God's. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be willing, grow, serve, love. Because in the eyes of the universe, every sincere soul striving to do better is a light, no matter how small. When enough lights come together, darkness doesn't stand a chance. So now, question is simple. Will you take your place in this unfolding story? Will you walk alongside those who, for thousands of years, have chosen truth in the face of deception, who've held fast to goodness when it was hard, who've seen beauty in the midst of brokenness? You don't walk alone. There is a whole unseen universe cheering you on, watching, hoping, waiting for this world to rise. Let it start with you, right now, right here, one choice, one day, one step at a time. Truth, beauty, goodness, let them be your compass. Know this, above all else, you are known, you are loved, and you are never, ever alone. In the vastness of the cosmos, on a little blue world spinning quietly in space, a story has been unfolding, one that stretches across time and touches every soul who has ever wondered, why am I here? What's the meaning behind all this? We've wandered through rebellion, confusion, and silence. We've seen heroes rise and revelations fall into waiting hands, from the fall of our planetary prince to the quiet courage of Van and Amadon, from the missteps of Adam and Eve to the radiant life of Jesus of Nazareth. Urantia's story is not one of failure. It's one of becoming. We are not the forgotten world. We are the proving ground, a place where truth must rise by choice, not by force. And maybe that's why the Creator himself chose this place, this wounded, longing world, to walk among us, to show us what love really looks like. Now we stand on the edge of a new chapter. The fifth epochal revelation has arrived, not to control or convert, to inspire. It doesn't ask you to believe blindly. It asks you to awaken, to remember who you are, to reclaim your divine birthright as a child of God, to live a life filled with purpose, courage, and compassion. Because in the end, the future of this world doesn't hinge on governments or miracles. It hinges on you, on the choices we make, on whether we carry the light we've been given into the places it's most needed. So ask yourself, will I be a part of this restoration? Will I rise when it's easier to remain asleep? Will I love when it's easier to turn away? Because this is how the world changes, not all at once, but one soul at a time. One act of kindness, one brave truth, one heart awakened to the divine within. And if enough of us say yes, then Urantia will shine again, brighter than ever before. May your steps be steady, your spirit be strong, and your heart always remember. You were born for more than survival. You were born to bring light,